Welcome back to episode 3 of the Twin Football Podcast, the weekly football podcast. We cover the NFL, we cover the Premier League, a little bit of college football thrown in there. It is Wednesday, September 11th, which means we got NFL picks. Last week didn't do that great, 11-5. So hopefully we got Jacob to come in and help us out here for week 2 of the NFL season and our first week of Premier League, college football, Premier League, NFL action, and I can't wait for that.
Gonna be a good weekend.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and dive straight in to our picks. Again, 11-5 record last week. We do all of our picks on ESPN. So go ahead, get your account in and get the picks in for this week. Starting off with the Thursday night game, Buffalo at Miami. We know the Bills have been the kryptonite to the Dolphins, sweeping the series last year as well. I think the year before. They just can't seem to beat the Bills. Obviously, losing Stephon Diggs, losing Gabe Davis, a more run-heavy offense for the Bills. They head down to Miami where it's going to be 90 degrees and humid down there on Sunday. Who do you got for this one?
Yeah, starting off with probably the hardest game of the week to pick. Dolphins sit at like 2.5 point favorite. Bills started off pretty slowly. Josh Allen doing typical Josh Allen things and fumbling the ball early. But he figured it out, especially in that second half. He just completely took over the game. He was an absolute monster. Four total touchdowns. The Bills haven't given us a reason to pick against them in this matchup. A lot of people finally think it's time for the Dolphins to win one. Dolphins are without Mostert and Achane. It's hard to pick against a team that has just dominated this matchup, but short week, Thursday night football. Bills are traveling to a very hot, humid Miami. Tough one to call here. I'm really in between it. I think slight edge Bills, but I could easily see Dolphins if you got a good argument here.
Yeah, I totally see. I'm looking up the weather for Sunday, and it is on Thursday, obviously, which is why I'm going with the home team on Thursday night football. The edge goes to the home team on a short week. This is the time the Dolphins will take it. I like the Dolphins here. I know Buffalo, they're going to stick to the run game. They're going to be able to, if they can get a lead, hold on to it for most of the game. But I think give me one explosive play from Tyreek Hill. We saw what Kyler Murray was able to do against Buffalo. James Conner. Hopefully HN does go. We know Mostert's already been ruled out. HN limited in practice so far. So hopefully he does go. I think the speed on, in the backfield and speed outside Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, short week in the heat, in the humidity. Give me Miami there at home. Cowboys, we know they roll teams at home. This is their home opener after having a solid performance from the $60 million man. Dak Prescott returns home to Dallas against the Saints team that put up 40 points last week against Carolina. You got Dallas in this one?
Yeah, so this is the New Orleans kind of heat check here. Was it them, or was it just them playing against probably the worst team in the NFL right now? I'm leaning until they can beat a better team towards the latter. They played the Panthers. Good for them. Derek Carr, I love the guy. He had a great game. Kamara also looked awesome. On paper, we said this last year, the Saints offense is amazing. And Chris Olave, Alvin Kamara, Derek Carr, they've got all the weapons an offensive coordinator could ever ask for. Last year, though, they were very hot and cold. Some weeks they figured it out. Some weeks they didn't. I think they figured it out against a bad Panthers secondary. Cowboys defense, we know what they're about. I really think they defend the Jerry's World home opener and win that one.
Yeah, I think it's not even going to be close. A reality heat check, like you said, for sure coming for the Saints. Baker Mayfield, a 4-touchdown performance last week, now heads up to Detroit to take on, one of the contenders for the NFC this year, no doubt after an overtime win against the Rams. They're at home. 90% favoring the Lions. Are you on board with the Lions as well?
Will anyone give Baker some damn credit? This guy
Browns
performs
fans.
week in
Browns
and week
fans.
out. He's playing out of his mind, and no one will give him any credit. Mike Evans, people keep thinking every year he's gonna fall off. He never falls off. Mike Evans is absolutely eternal. That being said, Lions at home with the Gibbs Montgomery 1-2 punch, probably the best 1-2 running back punch in the NFL. Jared Goff is just a solid quarterback. See Amon-Ra St. Brown in the end zone for sure. I think this game 90% 10% is unfair to the Buccaneers, but I do like the Lions. They're just too good.
Yeah, that offensive line is going to prove that it's one of the best in the league. I like the Lions, and I think 90-10 is almost too much for the Bucs. Despite that great performance, I just think they're going to try their hardest and just get outmatched. I like Detroit big in this one, and that's 3 home teams in a row that we've picked, so we got to get an away team, and nothing better than going with Anthony Richardson, who can throw it 85 yards on his heels. Absolutely fantastic. Who knows? Jordan Love, obviously MCL sprain. He's going to be out for a couple weeks. I don't think they've officially ruled him out. I will be shocked if he plays in the Lambeau home opener.
Yeah,
I like the Colts. Are you going against me here?
Yeah, so Anthony Richardson, I've never seen a better performance from someone that only completed 9 passes in the entire game, but damn, he looks good. He was making plays with his feet. He almost slips and falls over and then just bombs it 60 yards. What an opening touchdown to start off his season, back from injury, obviously. Packers, Josh Jacobs looks okay. Kind of started off slow against the Eagles. I think he'll pick up the pace, learn the offense a little bit. But Malik Willis is under center. He's thrown 67 passes in his entire NFL career. He's only completed about half of those. He has 0 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He came on against the Eagles the other night. He threw 1 pass that he should have definitely completed. And then he had a Hail Mary attempt against a 3 pass rush and got sacked. So he can't throw the ball. He can't avoid 3 pass rushers. Like, I'm going Colts here. Good rebound game for them after a tough loss against the Texans.
Yeah, and they should have. I think they should have won that game with definitely that pick there in the end zone hurt them there late. Tennessee throwing away a lead in Chicago. The Jets getting worked by San Francisco. Yeah, literally one of the worst picks you'll ever see. Can they rebound against the Jets, or will the Jets rebound away at Tennessee?
Yeah, I think the Jets are getting a little too much criticism right now. Obviously, they're kind of in the Super Bowl or bust mode. They've got a 40-year-old quarterback that they've gone all in on, but he hasn't played in a year, and he's playing probably the best team in the NFL. Chiefs fans will disagree with that, but 49ers are easily one of the best teams in the NFL right now. No one would argue with that. And they didn't look so good. Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson, though, like, go back and watch some of those highlights. Aaron Rodgers is he's still showing that Hall of Fame passing ability. He's so much fun to watch. I really think they rebound in a big way. People will say if they don't win this one convincingly, though, it'll still be kind of a letdown. I think they really are under some pressure to have a convincing win here, and I think they'll step up to the challenge.
Yeah, I don't get the full criticism. I get some of the criticism, and my criticism of the Jets against San Francisco was you could totally tell that there was some kind of sinking issue with routes, with where Aaron wanted them, the receivers to be. Obviously, you had a couple of drops as well. The fumble didn't help early on. And if only there was a time period where players come together to practice before a season. If only they had that in the NFL, then maybe I wouldn't, criticize the Jets as much. But and so they're going to need some time to sort that out. I think Breece Hall is too good of a running back. They're going to get it working. That defense, despite the points that San Francisco put up, I mean, San Francisco made no mistakes practically that entire game. The defense was able to hold
Just
strong.
that Ayuk drop in the end zone was the only mistake really the whole game.
Exactly. Penalties, no penalties, turnovers. They, march down the field. No real big plays, and so I think that defense is going to hold strong. They're going to turn over the Tennessee Titans. Will Levis is going to need to make some plays, and that's a recipe for disaster. Give me the Jets and the Jets defense there, despite them being on the road. San Francisco travels on the road to Minnesota, a team that beat them last year in Minnesota. Revenge game for the 49ers. Do you like them big here in Minnesota?
Yeah, so this is definitely a game that Niners fans will be a little bit nervous for. If they can remember last year, the Vikings just torched them, and it was a really sad game for the Niners. They didn't have Trent Williams. They didn't have Deebo Samuel. Those are two huge pieces for them. Trent did walk off a little bit late against the Jets to go get looked at. I think he's going to be okay. He didn't look like he was walking too gingerly. I think he was honestly just tired. He played like every snap. Vikings torched them with their tight end mostly last year, but again, they're missing some key pieces. I think the Niners started off the season super well against the Jets. They had 39 minutes of possession, absolutely insane. Brock looked great. He made actually zero mistakes. His best throw of the night just was dropped in the end zone. He would have had a way better. People would be looking back at it like, what a great performance if Ayuk hangs on to that. I got Niners here, but yeah, they will be nervous for this one.
Yeah, I like the Niners here. Trent Williams is such a big factor. You saw that last night. Run it left, run it left, run it left, run it left. And he just play after play after play. 5 yards, 5 yards, 5 yards, 7 yards, 5 yards, 5. It never seemed like they were 3 and long ever, the whole game. Even if the Jets got a good play on first down and made it 2nd and 8, 2nd and 9, boom, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1, 3rd and 3, and then they're able to convert. They're a machine. Minnesota, they got, Sam Darnold went 12 for 12 last week to start the game, but I just think they're going to need too much out of him. I like San Francisco there. New England, I gotta do it. I gotta give it to them. I said I didn't see where they would win a single game, and on the first week they go ahead and get the W against Joe Burrow in Cincinnati. They return home for their home opener against Seattle, and I got Seattle. You fooled me once. Yeah. Okay, we'll see if you can fool me again, but give me Seattle here. Geno Smith, Kenneth Walker, all of those weapons against Jacoby Brissett, who can, he's a veteran in this league. He can control the clock. He can control the game, but really you're not going to get much more out of him. 16 points with 2 turnovers. They didn't do much with the ball when they had it against Cincinnati. Give me Seattle to win in Foxborough.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you. Jacoby Brissett didn't really make any mistakes. He didn't do anything highlight worthy. Just kind of gave the ball to Stevenson, and Stevenson did his thing. I think the Seahawks will be ready for that game plan, stopping the run. Or disrespecting the Patriots week 2 after a great upset. But yeah, I think the Seahawks will have a little too much.
Yeah, I think so as well. Washington, they came out and said they don't want Jaden Daniels to be running as much as they did in week 1. I think he had 16 rushes. They're going to lean more on Brian Robinson and Austin Eckler, both of whom had good games last week in a tough loss. The Giants, they're the Giants. I don't know what to say about them. I got Washington. I just have no faith in the Giants. And every week I cringe more and more about the Hard Knocks, because how they displayed their incompetence, and now they are showing their incompetence on the field. And it just makes me feel worse and worse every week. I don't know where they're going to win or how they're going to do anything this year. Give me Washington at home.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. Jaden Daniels looked pretty good, 2 rushing touchdowns, didn't have any turnovers. Obviously, they don't want him to get injured. I think it's a good idea to have him rush the ball less or run the ball less. Daniel Jones, man, just looks so bad. 2 interceptions. Look absolutely horrible. I think already just bench him, put in Drew Lock, maybe jump to the 3rd in the depth chart and revive the Italian stallion, Tommy DeVito. I'm ready for it already. Just hit the button, panic button time. Daniel Jones is not looking any better. Just eat the big contract. I'm sorry it didn't work. You messed up, but it would be more of a mistake to try to double down with this guy. He's not a starting quarterback in this league. He's
No,
just not.
he's not. He just isn't. And I don't know who right now has it worse from a quarterback standpoint. Carolina mortgaging their whole future to trade to get Bryce Young with that situation, Daniel Jones with the Giants, or Cleveland with Deshaun Watson. I don't know if I would. I don't know who is worse. Really,
I
I
wouldn't
hate
want
to
to be
be in
any
all
of
those
those
positions,
teams.
and yeah, it's tough to say. Jaden Daniels, give me a win in his home opener. The Chargers with a good Jim Harbaugh, who's got it better than us type of game. Running the ball. Joe Alt looked absolutely fantastic on the offensive line. J.K. Dobbins is healthy, which is fantastic. I know all Ravens fans are a little bit jealous of that, I'm sure. Watching him go full force, finally healthy. Greg Roman, Gus Edwards. I think they're going to run the ball down Carolina's throat. And I like the Chargers away coast to coast here, but give me the Chargers.
Yeah, Bryce Young is looking more and more like Jamarcus Russell every day. Just any team playing the Panthers, I'm picking against them until they show any form of life. Like Chargers had a good week, but I'm mostly just not Panthers right now.
Yeah, hard to go with a team that made Derek Carr look that good. So now we move to the Browns and the Jags. Tale of two halves, really, for Jacksonville there against Miami. Good start, bad finish. The Browns just got completely outplayed by Dallas. These two teams played last year in a game that saw 7 turnovers. Joe Flacco at quarterback for the Browns in that one. Deshaun Watson obviously will be the starter this weekend in Duval County. Who do you got?
Yeah, this is a sneaky hard one to pick. Jaguars just completely just lost all of their momentum after that Etienne fumble. It was sad to see. The Browns are just playing a good Cowboys team. I think their defense still looks good. Myles Garrett still absolute monster. Deshaun Watson, yet another sexual assault case. He seems like the kind of guy that just wouldn't bother him. He's just not. He's
25.
He has no accountability at all. I think if they play him, he's not going to be bothered by that necessarily, but he did not look good in his first game back. He's getting a little too much criticism for his play, in my opinion. He hasn't played in a while, and that was his first game against a good defense. I think he'll look better than that against this Jaguars team if he does get the go. I think in a low-scoring game, I favor a good defense. Browns made the playoffs last year. Jaguars did not. I think I like Browns here.
Yeah, I just need, I know Kevin Stefanski has a subscribed and is going to watch this right before he makes his final QB decision. But don't end up like the Giants, Kevin. Don't end up like Carolina. Cut your losses, realize it's just not it, and move on, okay? Jameis Winston's going to turn the ball over, but you know what he's going to also do? Throw 50-yard touchdowns to the side, down the sideline to Amari Cooper, all right? That defense is going to carry you. I agree. Give me Myles Garrett in a rebound game here. In a low-scoring game, I think they'll be able to do good work against Etienne. They're gonna force Trevor Lawrence to throw it. No more Calvin Ridley, Christian Kirk. We saw a couple drops last week. Evan Ingram is still there. He had 11 receptions in this game last year, almost 100 yards. That's going to be kind of the main weapon I think they will use. But give me the Browns because of their defense to go on and get the win in the upset of the week. But just for the love of God, just play Jameis. All right. Just get rid of Deshaun. He doesn't look interested. And I know you have to keep him on the roster because of that cap situation is awful. And they owe him like $170 million over the next couple of years. So you can't cut him. You just can't. So, but just play Jameis Winston. Gardner Minshew looked okay last week against the Chargers. A couple of mistakes. Obviously, Baltimore have been waiting 10 days to get back on the field after that tough loss to Kansas City. Derrick Henry's first game in front of the Baltimore faithful. We couldn't even get Baltimore a logo here. I'm just going to say it's Derrick Henry in a silhouette celebrating three rushing touchdowns. Yeah, way too small. It's like left foot.
Yeah, I'm going to agree. Ravens for sure here. I think despite the loss, they looked really, really good. Isaiah Likely, I think he should be getting a little bit more criticism. It was a great catch at the back of the end zone, but any solid receiver drags the toe there, and mostly I'm just upset that we didn't get to see that 2-point conversion because they were going to go for it for the win. It would have been just great content to watch. Yeah, Lamar is so fast. He makes fast people look not fast. He's even faster than he was last year. He's down some weight. I think Gardner's getting a little too much criticism for the Raiders. He really needs like some kind of running game to open up the play action. He's just not getting any help there. But yeah, the Raiders are going to have to figure out some things. Their defense looks okay, but yeah. Ravens.
Yeah, I like the Ravens in a bounce back game. The Rams looking to bounce back with half of their team kind of injured after leaving Detroit with an overtime loss. Back-to-back games resulted in back-to-back losses returning from Detroit for the Rams as they got bounced last year in the playoffs. Cardinals, a good start against Buffalo, 17 points kind of early in that one. Kyler Murray scrambling, but no connection with Marvin Harrison. It looked like they weren't even trying to find him. I think they're going to try and do that a little bit more this week, but I think we're going to see that they're not on the same page. I like the Rams to continue their dominance over the Cardinals, especially in Arizona. And despite some of those injuries to Puka Nacua, part of the offensive line, I still like the Rams in this one.
Yeah, another tough one to call. If the Rams weren't so injury ridden, I'd pick them a lot quicker, but they still got Cooper Kupp. They still got Matthew Stafford. Cooper looked absolutely amazing. He looks like he's not getting any older. Kyler Murray did look really, really good. I agree with you. They need to figure out how to incorporate Marvin Harrison Jr. He's just too dynamic. Kyler wasn't even looking his way. I think you got to put some criticism on him for not looking for one of his most dynamic players. DJ Dallas was their only touchdown in the second half. They didn't score an offensive touchdown. That run back was cool to see with the new dynamic kickoff. But yeah, Cardinals have some figuring out to do, and I like Rams for now.
Yeah. All right. So that moves us on to what we were hoping was Russell's return to Denver as the starting quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Wanted to see it. We get Justin Fields will be the starter here. A win in Atlanta that really was just TJ Watt dominating. I mean, the only thing that stopped him was the refs throwing a flag because he timed it too well. It looked offsides. It was absolutely incredible. The strip sack, fumble recovery on top of that. He only just recovered a fumble a couple plays later anyway, just to get it. So give me the defense. I like Bo Nix. Okay start really last week, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Give me Pittsburgh in Denver.
Yeah, Bo Nix with kind of a rough start with the 2 interceptions. People are calling him Bo Picks. I think that's super harsh. Sean Payton made him throw the ball 42 times. That's a little too much for me for a rookie debut. Caleb threw it 29 times. Jaden threw it 24 times. That's much more reasonable for a debut game. I think Sean Payton was just asking for his rookie to have a bad debut when you're asking that much of him. Granted, they don't have too much of a running game to lean on right now, so he was in a little bit of a difficult position. Chris Boswell and TJ Watt just won the game basically by themselves against the Falcons. Steelers are doing what we expected them to do, though. Just their defense carried them all of last year. Looks like it's the same old, just tough Pittsburgh Steelers. Justin Fields, though, converted 5 third downs with his legs. Like he did not have a bad game. Got to give him some credit for some good game management and not making any huge mistakes. I like Steelers to win this.
Yeah, there we go. Rolling Steelers. 85% seems maybe a little bit high, but I agree. 93% got the Chiefs in this one against the Bengals. A terrible start last week. You can't put it in any other way. The contract situation continues for Jamar Chase. Any chance they turn it around in Arrowhead there in Kansas City?
Yeah, rematch of the 2021 and 2022 AFC Championship game. This usually an exciting game. I don't think this one's going to be so exciting. Bengals have a lot of work to do. I think there is always a chance that the Bengals just flip the switch and look like the Super Bowl contender that they were a few years ago. They did that last year after a bad 0-2 start. They just turned it on. I think they start 0-2 again. That just seems like that's their thing. I'm not picking against the Chiefs right now, and no T. Higgins out with a hamstring injury is going to hurt them. Yeah, I like Chiefs.
10 days to prepare for Andy Reid is practically a bye week, and we know how he does with those. Give me the Chiefs as well. CJ Stroud and all those weapons fitting nicely. Joe Mixon running with power. Stephon Diggs on little curl routes to the corner of the end zone. Absolutely fantastic offensive display there in a tough divisional game against Indy last week, squeaking that win out there. Chicago, a terrible performance really overall, saved by the defense and poor decision making by the Tennessee Titans quarterback Will Levis. So they will travel to Houston. Do you like CJ Stroud in this one, or Caleb Williams to play better and ride that Bears defense?
I do think Caleb gets better each week. Obviously not a great debut, but he won his first game. I'm sure he'll be happy with that. Yeah, I like Texans here. Bears got kind of lucky the other day, has to be said.
Yeah, Sunday night football. The Texans to get the win. Monday night football after playing on Friday night in Brazil, so a little bit extra time for travel and get back and get ready for the Atlanta Falcons. Philadelphia, Saquon Barkley, 3 touchdowns against the Green Bay Packers. His first game as an Eagle. He only had one such game in 73 with the New York Giants. Just shows you the levels there between the two franchises over recent years. 97% like the Eagles after that win in Brazil. I don't know if I agree with that high, but are we going here with the Eagles to go 2-0?
Yeah, I think we are. I owe an apology to Saquon Barkley. I did not realize how amazing he was going to be once he actually had a good offensive line. I don't know what I was thinking. He looked absolutely amazing. There's some growing pains there at the new center. I think they'll figure that out. The tush push doesn't look quite as potent as it did last year without Jason Kelce, but Eagles still look pretty solid. I think the Falcons will put up more of a fight than people are expecting, though. Kirk Cousins playing TJ Watt for his first game, learning a new offense, was not what you want to see. The 2 interceptions, it didn't look so good. I don't think it's time to hit the panic button or anything and put in Penix. I think you ride with Kirk. Bijan looks really solid already, even though they didn't score very many points. He looks like he's set up for a great sophomore year. But I like Eagles at home here.
Yeah, I think we got to ride with the Eagles. I know they went against that tough defense, but Kirk Cousins in prime time. We know what we're going to get. That means a Eagles victory there. And there you have it. All 16 of our picks here on ESPN. So go ahead and get your picks in and pick along with us here at the Twin Football Podcast all season long. Enjoy the NFL games and come join us tomorrow for our EPL picks as the international break for the Premier League is over. United States, tough 2 games there, but Mauricio Pochettino is now the head coach moving forward, which is great news. But the Premier League returns. We got picks tomorrow. All of the artwork here is done by Smiley Sports Artwork, so go check out her page on Instagram, and we will see you all tomorrow.